The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual guests. If you're a sensitive snowflake that may get easily offended, then turn this off immediately. If you want to hear the real truth about the gun culture, then stick around. This is the Armed Citizen Podcast. What is going on, my Go Squad? Welcome to the Armed Citizen number 217. We are live as always on YouTube and over on Facebook. So if you're out there, go ahead and say something. We don't know that you're out there unless you do. If you're new to the channel, new to the show, make sure you say hello and where you're from. We'll give you a shout out, maybe help you pop that cherry a little bit. We can't promise to make you any smarter. We just hope not to make you any dumber. But hey, it's you never know what's going to happen. So welcome to the dark side. If you want to call in or text in, yes, you can call into the show. Utilize the Ghost Tactical Hotline presented by our good friends Rod and Shelly Gates at Aegis Gun Care. Make sure you go check them out at Aegis, A-E-G-I-S, AegisGunCare.com. If you're a veteran, really anybody, but especially if you're a veteran and you're in that hole and you can't find your way out and you're questioning whether there's still light out there, first of all, call me, text me, email me 24/7. I cannot give you medical advice, but I can probably be a pretty good ear and maybe help you, talk you through some stuff. If you are looking for someone that can get you in the direction of medical help and all of that, please remember two things. One, you are not alone in this fight. You have a lot of brothers and sisters out here that are willing to help. And two, the world is a much better place with you in it. So please, please, please utilize the Veteran Crisis Hotline, 1-800-273-8255. Once again, 1-800-273-8255. And for veterans, press the number 1. As always, we spotlight the United States Marine Corps. So if you're out there and you want to find out some more information on how to earn the title United States Marine, then please visit the website marines.com. And I think I probably need to put this back on here. I need to figure out where it went. There it is. Yeah. And as always, we are a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. It's a great place where like-minded pro-gun, pro-2A, pro-freedom podcasts all on one. So go check out selfdefenseradio.net. Let's get this off my ugly mug and say hey to some of our homies. All of us were in Tulsa this past weekend for the Wanenmacher Tulsa Arms Show, the largest gun show in the world. From Gear Report, our good friend TJ. What's going on, TJ?
Oh, glad to be back down here where it's warm. I'll tell you that. It was brisk.
What was it? Saturday morning. It was 27 when we woke up. At least it was. I know that you guys were like, we don't even own jackets. What the hell are we going to do here?
I bought a jacket just for Tulsa.
I know, and I think Crystal might have gotten one at Walmart or something. Did she not Friday night?
Yeah.
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 So, glad you made it back home safely and all that. And from my neck of the woods, about 40 minutes away, we've got the tactical FUD himself. What's up, Buck?
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Good.
Yeah,
Buck,
I'm glad to be back too.
yeah, Buck's glad to be home because he had to stay in a room with me, and I wasn't breathing real well, so I'm sure I was probably snoring quite a bit. He had to drive with me everywhere, so he's probably just glad to be the hell away from me more than anything else. And from the great state of Texas, the tactical leprechaun himself. What's up, Clove?
Hey, man.
So Clover's my shotgun rider every week with this, so we always ask him this week, what shotgun you using?
How about maybe a Winchester 140 Ranger?
Okay. There you go. I don't know what the hell that is, but it sounds pretty cool, you know?
Yeah.
You know me, if you start talking shotguns, if it's outside like a Mossberg 500 or something like that, I don't know what the hell it is.
Old school semi-auto.
Oh, okay. Now, Mystic, Stacy was there this week, and obviously they live there. So, but Mystic's there says, do we really have to invite TJ? No, but I didn't want him to feel left. I know that he's very sensitive and he would get his feelings hurt if we didn't. So I felt like, I need to send an email to him and make him feel like we actually care about him a little bit. So, he's here. I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
That comment from her hurt. I'm upset now.
He's so sensitive.
And I sent a 2-minute warning out before the show saying, go get your popcorn. And Jesse out there, the gunpowder muses, I didn't show for popcorn. I told there were cookies. There are cookies in the green room, but I think Buck ate them all. I can't
no more.
That,
ain't no more donuts and Frosties, though.
There's no more donuts and Frosties, and we will talk about that for sure. Buck, did you know the cookies? Yeah, exactly. That's the reason why Buck was here. I promised cookies. So, Rich White wants to know, is Clover going turkey hunting with that Winchester? Getting a bird for Thanksgiving?
I picked up a bird at Tulsa. We'll have to talk about that too.
Yes, we will. And Mystic says, we all love Crystal, though. So I think we all are in agreement on that. We are very glad that TJ came because he brought Crystal with him. So
does she mean Crystal or is it Crystal? Because
the Crystal Burgers. Everybody loves Crystal, the restaurant, the burgers.
I do love Crystal Burgers. Yes, Crystal's not bad if you want to spend that kind of money on. I'm more of a what was that? The $10 champagne that's actually pretty good. Oh, what's that crap called that we always get? We get it. It's I don't know. It's like $10. It's good, but if you're into that Crystal thing, hey, we're not high rollers here, so we're on a budget. So, yeah. All right. Before we get going, we always like to talk about our Ghost Tactical polls. We every Thursday, Saturday, and Monday morning at 10 a.m. Central Time, the only time zone, by the way. Central Time, we put out our polls, and we have to have fun. We'll do some food polls, some music, some just random fun polls. But we like talking. Everyone seems to like to do that as well. So last Thursday was our poll, and it was Veterans Day. So I just put, have you or someone in your immediate family served in the military? Happy Veterans Day. 85% said yes, and 15% said no. So happy Veterans Day to all those veterans out there. Happy belated last Thursday. So we won't go into depth of that poll too much just because there's really no reason to. Saturday's poll was on average, how much sleep do you get? And I'm going to start with TJ on this. The answers, or the possible answers, are less than 6 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, or more than 10 hours. How much on average sleep do you get?
I'd say about 6 hours.
Yeah. I think that's, most people would do that. Buck, what about you?
Well, this weekend was less than 6. But normally it's in between 6 to 8 hours.
Okay, 6 to 8. Yep. Clove, what about Clove? Gets like 14 hours of sleep a day.
Yeah, minimum 8 to 10. Yeah.
That's no joke. Like he goes, the boy enjoys his sleep. That one has
so beautiful.
Well, hey. Okay. Yeah, we're got to hit the quiet button there, didn't they? You don't really know how to address that. That has 1.3 thousand votes. Coming in at first place is 6 hours at 45%. In second place at 32% is less than 6 hours. In third place with 20% is 8 hours. At 2% is 10 hours. And at 1% is more than 10 hours. So basically, 77% of the poll is 6 hours or less. And I think that's probably, probably pretty good. I saw that, Buck. Thank you for bringing that up in the side chat. Appreciate you. But yeah, now let me ask you guys this. They say that most people need at least 8 hours. I think they probably say 8 to 10 hours to get their full sleep cycle. Maybe like 3 times a year do I get more than like 6-7 hours sleep. I never get that 10 plus hours, very rarely, unless I just crash. But having the vast majority of America probably getting 6 hours or less. Is that, I mean, I don't know. I think most people can live off of 6 hours. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I mean, I usually don't go to bed until I'm tired. And when my mind's done, I'm like, all right, I'm going to bed. Sometimes I'll be in here doing review stuff till 1, 2 in the morning, not even know it. I'm like, all right, I'm tired now. Look at the clock and be like, all right, I'm an idiot. I got to wake up in 4 hours. I function fine most days. Some days, not so much. I think it's quality of sleep more versus hours.
I think that has a lot to do with it. When I do sleep, I feel like my wife thinks that I need to go probably get a sleep test, but thinks that, she says I stop breathing quite a bit and that sleep apnea and all that. But to me, I feel like I sleep pretty deep. Like I don't ever feel like crazy tired when I wake up. But they say that people that go and get that CPAP or whatever, and they say that they sleep like better than they've ever have. So, I want to feel what it's like if I actually get that. How good I feel the next day, But yeah, I know Buck didn't get very much sleep this weekend. He had to deal with my ass. From lands unknown, he looks like he's rolling down the highway. What's up, Rod?
Not much, guys. Yeah, I'm trying to get a few more miles up the road to get into Wyoming.
You're making pretty good time if you're already close to Wyoming.
Yeah, I stopped and saw an old friend too, but I need to get out of this communist state of Colorado.
It's a pretty state, but yeah, I don't know about the politics, but it's definitely a pretty state. Wyoming's a great state all around. I could live in Wyoming very easily.
I was born and raised in Colorado, and it used to be an awesome state. It is beautiful.
Yep. No, I hear you. And the last poll that we're going to talk about has 813 votes, came out yesterday, and it says, do you name your guns? So let's start with Rod. Rod, and I'm not saying every gun, but the majority of your guns, do you name them?
I've never named a gun ever.
Yep. I've named one, and it was my most recent. Clover, what about you? Have you ever, do you name any of your guns? If at any?
I don't think there's enough names on the planet, so no.
Well, aren't you just special, Mister? I own 3,000 firearms. Let's see here, Buck. Have you ever named any of your guns?
Only when they mess up or break.
Well, calling them names and naming them are different.
No, I ain't never named a gun yet. But
you might have to.
Season though.
You might have to name the one you picked up this weekend, like maybe Elmer or something.
Yeah.
Elmer Fudd. Something like that. We'll see. TJ, what about you? Name any guns?
No, I can't say that I have. Most of mine you can take apart and then assemble in some other form. So,
right.
They're all Frankensteins, pretty much.
Well, they get a self-identify then.
Right. Yeah. They get a prefix in them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've only named one. It was my it's the Bergara, and the only reason why I did was it was too easy. I named her Sophia instead of Sophia Vergara, the actress. I named her Sophia Vergara. But it was just too easy. But that's the only one that I've ever named. I guess you maybe call that one. I call that the battle rifle, but it's not a name. It's just that's the battle rifle. But yeah, I've only named the one. That's Sophia, just because I was like Bergara. It's way too. I've got to name it Sophia. And actually, what's so funny is Bergara picked up on it and was reposting everywhere. Is like, oh, do you guys name your guns Sophia? And everyone's like, I gotta steal Sophia. And I'm like, hey, you guys can have it. I was just being funny. So I wonder if 223 DMR out there is saying he's named a gun Ghost and then Clover. Maybe he's named some of his guns after Clover and I don't know. That's kind of creepy, but cool, So let me ask you guys this out there in the chat.
Yeah, the one named Clover's got to be a shotgun. You know it is.
Well, I was gonna say out there in the chat, if you were gonna name a gun after Clover or I, what kind of gun would you name it Ghost, and what kind of gun would it have to be to name it Clover?
That's too easy.
Yeah. So Rich was saying that Buck emailed him about an 1894 Winchester 3030 Is that the one he got? So let's just let Buck. Buck, you want to? I don't know. You might not want to tell people what you bought, but you can tell them what you didn't buy, possibly.
No, I didn't get that one because I'd rather have a transmission in my truck first.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
But I did pick up.
It was nice.
Well, a little 22 pistol, Chippewa, 22 little 5-inch barrel on it. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, little Kiapa AR pistol. It's nice, man. Nice. It's nice. Let's see here. I'm trying to see. I don't know who sent this. You leave a name next. Oh, never mind. It's Warsaw Patriot. Send a text into the show via the Ghost Tactical Hotline presented by Rod and Shelley Gates Aegis Gun Care. He said, "What's the longest time you have gone without sleep?" The last time he's gone without any rest or sleep was 3 days straight and day and night when he was 14. The Guinness Book of World Record. Yes, there's a world record for longest without sleep. I don't know. TJ, to your knowledge, what's the longest that you've gone without sleep?
I've worked because sometimes I have deadlines and I slack a little bit, and I'm like, oh, I can do that in like 2 days. So I think it's been like 2 days and a night straight.
So like
I've just worked straight and didn't sleep.
Like 30 hours or so, roughly.
Let's say 24 now, like 24, 48. Probably like 30 hours. Or 50 hours.
No, 54 hours. 54 hours. Somewhere 50 hours. Yeah.
It was. I mean, I felt it for like 2 days afterwards. It was bad. I'm too old to do that crap, but I mean, sometimes my job's just like, listen,
No, I get you. Got
to get it done.
Clover, what about you? Do you know about is the longest that you've gone without?
I don't.
sleep?
I really don't know. I mean, there may be times that I just don't remember, right? Because they wasn't something memorable. But I know the trip to Phoenix, the trip to
you drove straight through. Yeah,
I drove straight through to Phoenix, and then not only straight through, but hung out and then a bunch of other stuff along the way. And it was 30 plus hours. So on the backside of 30, between 35 and 40 hours. And most all of that, 99% was driving too. And that was rough. And then especially have 3 days of conference or whatever, and then drove straight back. But straight back was, I'll take that back. I didn't drive straight back because I went down to Tucson, from Phoenix to Tucson, stayed overnight in Tucson, and then I drove straight back from Tucson, not from Phoenix. So that wasn't nearly as long. And the series of events that occurred, I won't get into that either. It's what extended the drive out there. So, yeah.
Buck, what about you? What's probably the longest without sleep you've gone?
Probably about 3 days. Up at work one time, we had a bad snow and nobody could show up, and I was stuck there. So, I did take like 15, 20-minute cat naps. But it's about 3 days,
Yeah, I would say that's probably 3, maybe 4 days is probably where I know in boot camp, the first 3 days you're at boot camp, you don't sleep. Like no sleep. And then you finally get to sleep and they give you about 4 hours and then you start right back over. The first 3 days you don't sleep. Doing some training stuff and some interesting things that we did. 3.5 days roughly. So I don't know. I mean, I when you start getting to that 3 days, I can tell you this much, and this is just my experience. At 3 to 4 days of no sleep, I don't know about you guys, but I start hallucinating quite a bit. You start seeing weird stuff at that point because your mind's dreaming, but your body's not sleeping at that point. But I mean, you start seeing some weird stuff, or you think you're seeing weird stuff. You start hearing a lot of. It's very interesting what happens when your body breaks down and has to go into survival mode almost. It's pretty interesting. So I don't know what the world record is. I don't even know about how long you can go physically without sleep. I don't know, but I know that I was about 4 days, and that was as long as I wanted to go. So there you go. Let's go up here and see some of the chats. Rich said a rifle named Ghost would have to be one of them ghost guns they talk about in California. Calaveras says Ghost would be a Smith & Wesson revolver. That's funny. That's funny. Let's see here. Snob says he's here. We can start the chat. Let's see here. Richard out there says I went days without sleep in the 43rd anniversary coming on the 18th of this month. I was at the Jonestown massacre. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, wow.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, okay. G23 says 30 days without sleep with the help of a little crystal meth. So, hey, you got to do what you got to do. Yeah. Let's see here. So, Warsaw says...
You guys remember mini thins?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
There may have been that's what I say. There may have been times where I went no telling how long without sleep. Just don't remember it.
Just don't. Well, sure. I mean, and once again, at some point, your body's going to do whatever it needs to do to survive, and blocking out some of that shit probably is real. The man who made the longest record without sleep is 264 hours. That's over 10 freaking days. Wow, that's 11 days, I think. Is that right? 11 days. Screw that. No, thank you, boys and girls. So we're going to dive into Wanenmacher. All of us that were here were at Wanenmacher this weekend in Tulsa, the Wanenmacher Tulsa Arms Show, the largest gun show in the world. 11 acres under one roof, and it's phenomenal. We're going to talk about a little bit what happened, all the stuff that happened, what we did, what we bought, what we saw. It was kind of cool. I will say this, that I showed up Friday night. We got there about 4:30, went over to the show, checked in, saw everybody, saw Rod and all them. Everyone was there. And then we decided to go to Whataburger, have some dinner, and then went over to the hotel. But before I went to Whataburger, Buck and I went over to the hotel since Whataburger's like, right next door to the hotel. So we went over there, just checked in, and I walked in and I said, I have a reservation for Miller, and they knew my first name, which was not on the reservation. And she's like, do you go by so-and-so? And by Trey. And I was like, yeah. And she puts this box of crayons, and they're in my bag. I should have pulled them out, but a box of crayons. They had a note on there that says, Trey, we figured you'd be tired after your long drive. Here's a snack. And it says, your friends, Rod and Shelly with Aegis Gun Care. So they had stopped by the hotel. So I want to say thank you. I don't think I could have made the drive home without eating those, because they saved my life. So thanks for the snack, though. I appreciate you very much. So let's see here. Obviously, Rod had the longest drive for sure, coming from Idaho. You got there.
You're all home.
Been home for a while, bro. Been home for 2 days now. Just saying. TJ flew in from Florida. Buck drove in with me. Clover drove in from Texas, and you had Sarge and Obnoxious drove in from Carolina, and Gary drove in from Kansas. So I'm going to start with TJ first and say, this was your first Wanenmacher. And we kind of talked last week about maybe what you were looking for or expecting. Now that it's come and gone, were you close to what you were expecting? Was it different, better, worse? What are your thoughts now of Wanenmacher?
I mean, I thought it was. I mean, it was probably a lot better than I expected. I expected it to be just like jam packed, and it was busy, but it wasn't asses to elbows. I mean,
it usually is. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I heard. Other than that, I mean, the guns there were freaking phenomenal. I mean, I love the old shotguns, the old rifles. The artistry of the old stuff, and there was a ton of futtery there, and I love that stuff. I don't have enough of it, but I love it. The old. I mean, there was one table that he must have had 30 lever actions, and I was just like, oh my gosh, those things are awesome.
Yeah. We talked last week that most people, we say that, no matter what you're looking for, if you look long enough, you'll find it. You may not be able to afford it or whatever. It may not be in good shape or whatever, but you'll find whatever there is there. And did you have any things that you saw that you were like, holy cow, I've never seen one of those before?
Oh, a bunch of them. I mean, all kinds of the black powder stuff I'd never seen. Some of the lever actions, some of the Browning, the shotguns, A2s, A5, those are phenomenal. I love those. But yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff I didn't see or that I've never seen before.
Now, Rod, I know. I mean, you were there for your first time, but you were there. You had a booth with the company and all that. Did you? We'll get into your experience as a vendor, but did you get a chance much to walk around and look around on your own?
Yeah, we did. Shirley and I tried to take breaks and each of us go walk around. So I never got to the lower level, but I got around most of the upper level.
Okay.
And I was blown away. It was impressive to me. Even though every place I did go, I was trying to find some 32 Winchester Special from a lever action.
Okay.
Some rounds, I couldn't find them anywhere. So
that's because you didn't make the bottom floor, unfortunately, man.
The bottom floor is where all that stuff is. Yeah.
I would have told you exactly where to go.
Yeah, Clover has an ammo guy that's got some he's a ammo collector, and he's got crazy stuff that you never even heard of probably.
For future reference, bottom floor all the way at the back or all the way at the far end of the bottom floor. And then if you're facing that bottom floor, if you're looking that direction, on the right side, not through that main section, but off to the side before you get to the food vendor. There's a guy there also. So either one, I guarantee you would have had that and been reasonable, not been crazy ammo prices. That's what's insane.
Now you actually know this guy, Clover. You might be able to hook Rod up with him privately, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I know you had discussions with him.
I found some the week before at the gun show in Nampa, but they were old partial boxes, and he wanted a lot of money for them, so I just passed.
Well, you start talking about these specialty calibers and old calibers. I mean, people know what they have. So,
well, I bought. I don't remember when it was. Was it in April that I bought the 4570 stuff? That was.
I thought that was in like 19 or something, maybe.
Yeah, it may have been in one of the older shows. But either way, I mean, ammo was expensive still there, and I got, a box of 4570 cheaper than 308 or.
No, you did get it in April. You did, because you were surprised that you were getting, because you were getting it less than modern calibers.
Yeah, it was like I got 2 boxes of 4570 for cheaper than 2 boxes of 9mm. It was it was insane. Yeah, $25 a box.
Real quick, Born to Be a Shooter Josh says, has anyone on here ever bought or know anything about Steel City Ammo Inc.? Anybody know about Steel City Ammo? I'm assuming that's from Pittsburgh, probably, if I had to guess.
No.
I've never heard of it, so I couldn't help you.
I ain't never heard of them.
No, I don't know. I don't know anything about them.
There's so many ammo companies out there now, it's just crazy.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of ammo supply. I mean, ammo, like selling ammo that I don't know. I've never heard of them. I don't know. I wish I could help you. But maybe someone out there, being it's in Pittsburgh, if anyone would know, it's probably Rich White, because he's in West Virginia and close to Pittsburgh. So, there he goes. He says it's a Pittsburgh company. That's all he knows. So there you go. If he doesn't know, then I suspect no one out here probably would know much about it. But I could do some research for you, but it would just be Googling, which anyone can do. So I don't know. Buck, this is your second time. You were there in April when it was just a mass hysteria. Compared to this time, now that you've been there twice, let's not compare April to this one, because I'm going to go out there and say this, and this is not a knock on the show, because the show itself was great. They always do a great job, but of all the years that I've been going, all the shows that I've made, this was, I'm not going to say the worst, I would say this was probably the most disappointing. There were a lot of open tables, open spaces. The crowds were maybe 3/4 of what they usually are. And then you go on, we'll go into other things but it was just not, the vibe wasn't there this time that it normally is. Clover, would you agree with that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. Now, there's some talk out there in the chat, about how November's typically not quite the same as April because of several reasons, right?
Yeah.
That it would make sense that was closer to Christmas could potentially be an issue. April's tax season, fear of weather, which honestly April seems to be worse than November in Tulsa most times.
Yeah.
But outside looking in, people coming in, right? November sounds worse, right? So maybe. But the thing I noticed, and we've been going for 5 years now, every single time. I will say that it, however you want to word it, and it's not a bad thing because it's still the largest show in the world and awesome. But it was the worst, or the least people, least vendors. There was obvious bald spots, right? Not just a few tables. You see that in the other shows. You see
areas with no tables in them.
You see tables where people have left early, or tables where people reserved them and didn't make it, or whatever the case may be, right? That's not uncommon to see some empty tables here and there, but they had sections and total rows that were open, which was weird. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, there was that back section past where Rod and Shelley were, up by the back bay doors. That whole middle section was wide open all weekend, and that's like prime real estate. That was just, and then even Buck was saying like the huge ramps on each side next to the stairs coming up, those are always got tables and everything. They were wide open. So it was a little different.
They had cars parked at that one end that you were talking about.
They did, and that especially Saturday, they had people driving in, dropping off stuff Saturday. That's never happened before. Not on a Saturday, I should say.
Yeah.
They're saying that hunting season, Stan's out there with SS Spawn. What's up, Stan? Glad to see him again. Had dinner with him Saturday night as always. Had a little fun with him. Gave him some cool things. I think they're pretty funny. I don't know if he did or not, but seeing deer season, football season. I guess deer season has something to do with it. Football season's there every year, and it wasn't ever like this before. So I don't know.
Deer season is too, right? Those are all we're talking about. All
these variables are always there.
Tax time and everything else. So it was just there was something was up, something was weird about this year. It was just an off year, and that's not like you said earlier. It's not dogging on it or saying it's a bad thing or it wasn't all.
It was still a great show,
but it's just it wasn't as good as it could have been, and so you want to say that because I don't want people to, like TJ, like Rod, both first time, right? They have no comparison there, so it's just make sure that they understand that it could be better, right?
Yeah,
well, it was still better than the shows I have down here.
Heck yeah.
Well, it's still really the largest gun show in the world, even if it's not at full capacity.
It was laid out good. There's plenty of food. It wasn't like down here, we got one vendor or two vendors, and show everybody in an auditorium and it's packed. There's not enough room between tables sometimes, and it's just it's laid out there. I thought, like I said, as far as walking around and stuff, it was easy and plenty of food.
I will say this, that I'll have to admit that is actually probably a good thing and not only were there tables and spaces empty, It did. We all talked about this, and Clover and I talked about it especially. It did seem like the aisles were a little wider and all of that. Now, I don't know if that's because there weren't as many people going asses to elbow, or it actually was wider. But yeah, I'll say that this is by far, of all the ones that I've been to, the easiest by far of navigating Wanenmacher. So that's a plus. As much as they probably don't want to have that less amount of people, that's money. For the people that were there, yeah, it was probably a lot easier to navigate than in any other one we've been to. So Jesse says, hopefully 2022 is going to be a much better year. We'd love to get you. And you guys, now that you're in Missouri, it's not as hard of a drive. So yeah, hopefully. Buck, once again, aside from the numbers and the amount of people and vendors, compared to April was your first time to this one, did it still have the excitement? Were you still excited, and was it still you were happy you still went, I guess I'm assuming?
Oh yeah, I was very excited when I got up there. You could actually walk down the aisle and actually see what was on the tables instead of trying to peek over somebody's shoulder and stuff.
Well, and that's a whole other issue too, is not only is there more room to walk, but there aren't as many people at individual tables grabbing and all that. So yeah, I didn't even think about that. It was probably a much better shopping experience for consumers. It was probably honestly, it was better for media because you didn't have to fight as many people knocking over your tripods and all of that. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those where as much as I say that I wish it was busier, being there, it probably was better because you didn't have all the craziness and the amount of people and all of that. So, it's good and bad. It's probably good for the consumer and for us, probably bad for the Wanenmachers who are trying to make money on this thing and all of that. But I'm sure they did quite well as well. So I want to kind of start going through the room, and I'm going to start with Rod. I'm going to try to keep Rod awake while he's driving. By the way, Shelly's out there. She's on Facebook. She says, hey.
I'm just about 10 minutes away from the motel, or even less. So.
Okay, good. I want to start with you. And when you were, as a consumer, when you were walking around, does anything in your mind stick out? That was like the coolest thing it doesn't have to be a gun, but was that the coolest thing that I saw all weekend? Do you have one of those?
I don't think I did, really. I just thought the coolest thing was there was just so much of everything.
Yeah.
Was the coolest thing to me. There was no type of firearm that you couldn't find. But that was just cool to me.
Yeah, they had anything from the Altor to a 249 saw or a cannon, and Clover had about 18,000 pictures of cannons. It was a cannon.
It's a cannon.
Yeah.
It's a mini cannon. It's a baby cannon. It's a big cannon. They had them all shapes and sizes.
They had
right?
all sorts of cannons there. But yeah, it's just one of those cool things. Let's see here. TJ, Defense Dad says, did you score a lever action that you had hoped?
I did not. I looked. I saw a couple. And then I went, like what everybody else does, go to Gunbroker and check out the prices. And I was like, a little steep, but I did find I was looking for a rifled barrel for my Remington 1100, so I found that.
And you did find
that.
that.
A box over here. I was like, sweet,
dude. Did you go to the barrel guy? Because he's got barrels
I went to both barrel guys. The one guy didn't have it.
My God.
And then
Really?
The older guy, which is like he looked over and just grabbed a box like he knew. Grabbed the box like, I got like 4 or 5 of them in here, and he's like, you want the bead side, or you want you want about amount of scope on it? I'm like, oh no, give me the ones with the pick and tinny so I can put a scope on it.
Right.
So,
Right.
I got one of those. It wasn't bad. It was $200.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
No.
Stan says, thank you for all the retirement gifts and card. You guys made me feel special, and I was a part of your group. It meant a lot to me. Thank you. Well, I didn't want to say it because I didn't know if it was public knowledge or not. Everyone knows Stan at SS Pawn. Great guy. Got to know him over the last couple of years with Wanenmacher. Stan is retiring. And so the funny thing is when and I'm not throwing Gary under the bus, but it was funny because when Gary found out the way he was stuck, like, oh, we're never going to see him again. And Snob says he's not dead. He's just retiring. So was it Friday night? I think it was Friday night. We all went to Walmart after Whataburger and all of that. Rod said he'll get back when he gets checked in the hotel. So, but yeah, we went to Walmart and we got him some fun retirement gifts, if you will. And we had a little fun with that. So we gave them to him Saturday night at the dinner and at Roadhouse and all that. It was pretty funny. Sarge, yeah, go ahead.
I got one question for Stan. Did you use any of it on the way home?
Well, he might have had to use one, possibly, maybe two of them. You know, we gave him some gag gifts. Like I got him a cane. We got him some Ensure, like the little thing they drink, some diaper pad thing, and then a male urinal, like a little handheld urinal, so if you can't get up and you got to go. And then we gave him, I got him a card, and it wasn't a retirement card. It was a funeral card with all of our sympathies. And it was just fun. We had fun with him. And G23, did you get him some handcuffs? No, I didn't get him some handcuffs. I just got him some interesting things. Sarge says that Gary practically delivered his eulogy. I think we're actually going to see more of him. Now that he's retired, you know, we're just giving you shit, Gary. We're just giving you shit. We're having fun at your expense. Stan says the urinal came in handy. Will come in handy someday soon. I think it will. We almost needed to use it with Snob at the restaurant. If it was there, he would have used it for sure.
Probably.
He got he literally climbed over the table, and actually a guy at the booth started, raining money over for him. He did make a couple bucks.
He was making it rain.
That's right. Let's see here. Now, Sarge said that he bought some accessories since guns were so expensive. So, TJ, you weren't there in April. April prices were just absolutely stupid. This show, some things were a little bit cheaper, but others were even higher than in April. But Clover Tech will bring you guys in, and overall, not, specific things might have been a little bit higher or lower, but overall in general, where do you think the prices for firearms, not ammo, but firearms were in comparison to April?
It was lower.
Yeah.
Yeah, me personally, they were lower.
Yeah, there were things, most of them were lower. Now, M1 Grands, they were higher. In April, I was looking for one, and the cheapest one I could find was $1,200, and that was just a little bit more than I'd like to spend. The cheapest one that I saw this time was $1,800. Most of them were $2,200 to $2,700 for M1 Grand. So it's like, holy shit, I'm not saying there weren't. I'm saying the cheapest that I saw was $1,800.
Yeah, I've seen some in the $800 and $900, but man, they were rough.
Yeah,
they were rougher than what you would get at rack grade at CMP or something like that. I mean, they were pretty bad.
Yeah, it was so funny. I don't remember if it was Clover or Buck, whoever it was. I think it was Buck. We were walking around, and some guns don't have price tags on them. He says, I realized if the guns don't have price tags on, you probably shouldn't ask how much they cost. I'm like, no, if it doesn't have a price tag on, you probably can't afford it, because there were. But he did find a couple lever actions that were not 35,000. So
yeah, I had my glasses with me this time.
That was the funniest thing. Funniest thing.
Yeah, one thing I learned from Wanenmacher was if the gun is real shiny or no price tag, just keep walking. Yeah,
real shiny, high price tag, regardless of if it's good or not. It's shiny. They took the time to shine it up, polish it, keep walking. Yep.
There's a lot of do not touch or do not handle the firearms signs.
A lot of those. Yeah. And a lot of them were in glass also, like the old revolvers and all that, a lot of glass. But yeah, there's a lot of that. That's all of them, especially the older, more expensive. they're not in glass. Will say, please don't handle without permission and all that. I get it. I wouldn't want people handling my $30,000 rifle either. But yeah, but there was a lot of that. There was one. I don't know if you guys saw it. Right up there in the upper level, right in the middle. But it was pretty much even with like the cheesesteak guy in that area in the middle of the aisles. I was walking past it and I was looking, and it literally, like, there were rifles and all sorts of stuff and tomahawks and all that were literally like had dirt on them. Like they were like just dug up from the ground, but they were probably, there's no telling how old those things were. They were probably literally dug up out of the ground, old relics of, the Indian Wars or whatever. But they had, arrowheads and tomahawks and all sorts of cool rifles. And I'm thinking, really shiny or just dug up out of the ground, probably can't afford either one of them,
Yeah, I saw those, and I was like, I'm not touching them because I don't want to get dirty. But I was like, they're probably more affordable than the shiny ones, but still.
But we don't know. We don't know how, like, if there's any history attached to those, because they didn't have prices on them. And I wasn't going to ask, let's see here. Sarge says nothing is as horrifying as Snob's reaction to the guy's price on the Smith & Wesson Chief Special. Yeah. So I guess they were there and he asked how much it was, and he said the price. And immediately, like as soon as it came out of the guy's mouth, Snob goes, "Nope!" It just walked off. So, yeah, there are a couple of those that I would like to say nope to. SKSs, the Norinco SKSs were still going for about $800. Yeah. So that's better than it was in April, where they were at $1,200. I think the cheapest one that I saw in SKS there was $500, and that's still about 3 times too high. But it was, the cheapest I saw was $1,200 in April. So the cheapest I saw this time was $500. So prices were down. I would definitely say that ammo prices were still high, but they were much lower than they were in April, where 9mm was going for $1.50 a round. In April, I saw a lot of them for about 60 cents a round, which is still high, but it's half of what it was in April. So, that's not bad.
Yeah. I think last year I bought that 300 ammo for like $36 a box.
Yeah, $36 a box. Yeah, sure did.
This year I got it for $27. So.
And the ammo that you got that from Black Rain, I believe. Yeah. And I don't know much about 300 blackout ammo, but I remember you showed Clover Tack, and he said that that's a really good brand and type of 300 blackout that could go for $50 a box legitimately, even like in normal times. So you got a hell of a deal on that.
Yeah, I think it was match grade. I think it said on there.
Yep, normal match.
Yeah, I don't know the brand, but you knew it, Clover. So you said it was a pretty good. Now Sarge says expensive guns were a little overpriced, but less expensive common guns were way up. I didn't see that. They were. I don't see they were way up, but they weren't as way up as they were in April. And I don't think Sarge was there in April. April was just stupid.
Yeah, in April they had that Heritage Rough Rider for like $400.
Yeah, like $450 for a Rough Rider. What? Good Lord, Yeah. The cheapest AR that you could find in April, for the most part, I would say the cheapest. The average AR, whether it was Anderson, the average cheap AR was going for about $900 to $1,000 in April. You could get them for about $600 to $800. So they were down. They have there's a couple of them throughout the show that are build, a complete AR for X amount. And for the last several years prior to this year, those were $300. Like you could go and get a $300 AR every day, all day at Wanenmacher for the last 5 years. And In April, I want to say it was like 550 or 600 for that same AR. This year, I think it was what, 479, I think is what they had advertised, a complete AR for 479. And I don't know like what kind of components they were. It was just, it is what it is. So prices are coming down. Let's see here. Sarge says, that's what he means. Common guns were twice as what you can get. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were high, but and I know you weren't there in April. April, stupid. I mean, absolutely stupid prices. So, it is what it is. Taurus G2C was asking $280, and that's a $200 gun roughly. Probably get it for maybe $189 in some places back, before the cough or whatever. So I mean, 280 is really not. I mean, it's not. It's high for the Taurus G2C. Don't get me wrong, but we're talking it maybe $100 more. There are some that are 4 times the price of what you could get them before. So, yeah. Let's see here. Defense Dad said that shells are jam-packed full of 9mm at $20 a box. Really? Interesting. I still can't find it around here. It's still 9mm, still tough to. Can't find 9, and you can't find 6.5 Creed anywhere around here.
We got pallets of it down here.
Of 9 or 6.5 Creed?
9,
yes, both of them.
5.56, 6.5 Creed. There's still plenty. Like I told you, I'll go to when I go to Frogman's. Yeah. I'll give them a look and see.
Well, I might have to call down to your shop and see if they can send me some 9. Then if it's, I mean, like let's just say like Winchester white box. Let's just take that because everyone knows that was $10 a box or so, for 9mm. What's that running these days? Have you seen it around?
I haven't seen the Winchester. They have like they have other brands that like kind of like the off brands that they're getting.
Sure,
they're getting a lot in. But it's been.
Well, what's the cheapest 9mm you've seen?
A case of 1,000 for like $420.
Okay, it's getting there for sure.
They have cheaper ones, but they won't sell those by the cases.
Yeah, I got that was about a month and a half ago, I guess. I picked up online 1,000 rounds of Max Tech or whatever it's called. MagTech or Max Tech 9mm ammo, 1,000 for $300 shipped. So I thought that was pretty good. So I haven't shot at it yet because I've been shooting long range since then. But there he is. He's at the hotel. Back to the hotel.
Yeah, made it.
Right on. Well, have you called Shelly first before you got on here?
No. Well, if she's on here, she'll see me.
She's watching. It's fine.
Okay. All right.
Shelly, I made it to the motel.
I don't want to get blamed for that bullshit. So, yeah. Defense Dad, this goes for everyone out here, anyone on the panel. So did you guys actually see people buying guns while you were there other than for the experience? Sounds like most gun show prices.
Yep. I totally seen people buying guns there.
People were buying guns left and right.
Yeah,
absolutely they were.
So
I was at Wild West Guns when they bought that twin set of revolvers.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
I was there. The guy he was counting out a stack of cash. I was like, "Alrighty, it's going to be a good day."
So going into this, and we do this every single time, twice a year.
Sure.
We talk about it in pre-show. We talk about it in post-show. Everybody talks about gun show prices, right?
Right.
Well, it's typically gun show prices are higher, and it's always been that way. So, part of the thing is finding those gems, finding those deals. They exist, and at the world's largest gun show, there's a lot of them that exist. Now, that doesn't mean it's a gun you want, right?
Sure,
but they exist. Sure. So I don't know how many I missed out on that were deals that I could have bought. I know Buck bought one of them, and 45 ACP bought the other. So I know the people that snagged those that I was looking at. I thought, heck, that's not bad. I'm going to pick that up if it's still there. And of course it wasn't. And so there was, I would say, obviously I didn't come home with any guns, but there was a dozen probably, at least 10. It was in double digits, and maybe a dozen that I had my eye on. If they were there, Sunday after lunch or whatever, I would have picked them up. But none of them made it. So obviously, people were buying guns,
Sure.
and they were, like I said, they had the mentality that I go in with, which is, where are the deals? Where are the buys? I don't care what it is. Where are the deals?
Yeah. I know Snob was able to pick up at least 2 of the 3rd gen Smiths that he was looking for. He might have gotten another one. I think he got 2 3rd gen Smiths, maybe a SIG or something. I don't remember. But yeah, I know that he was able to find some good deals on those because he wouldn't have bought them unless they were deals. Buck had a deal on the 1894 Winchester Lever 3030 for $700, which everyone we were talking to, so that's a banging deal. And it was just one of those things where obviously he chose a transmission, which is probably the smartest move, over the rifle. But that was a banging deal. At least it was a very fair deal.
It was fair. It was certainly
fair. And fair at a gun show, especially in today's time, fair is a banging deal sometimes, Calaveras wants to know if you took home a cannon.
No, I did not. But I'm going to tell you now that I will eventually. The mini cannons, the mini cannons and the micro cannons are pretty cool, and I will eventually. I mean, they're there every single time. It's not anything new, so I will eventually be bringing one of those home, most likely. Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, Cal said here that Cass Snoop Dogg got in Mossberg. She did. She brought the white AR that we helped her buy in April. She got the bangest deal of all time. She got that for $200. I don't know how she got that for. I was there when she bought it. I was like, holy shit, she get this for $200. I think the guy just thought she was cute, maybe. But I think she went to go with that, and then she walked out with a Mossberg 500, which, I mean, can't go on the Mossberg 500. I mean, if you're gonna get if it's your first shotgun, there are a lot worse shotguns to be your first in a Mossberg 5. So, but yeah, someone says they were seeing. I don't know who it was. Someone on the chat that was there said they were seeing Maverick 88s for $250.
I don't think I ever seen a Maverick 88.
I didn't see a Maverick 88, but I wasn't looking for a Maverick 88.
Yeah, so that goes to everybody's experience. That's what's kind of cool, right? Is everybody's experience, and everybody's a little different, and they're looking at different stuff. And plus, if you've been there a while, you know who to just avoid, right? There's a lot of tables, especially down in the bottom floor.
Yeah,
there are a lot of the high dollar lever rifles and antique style stuff and things like that. That
$35,000.
Yeah. After a few shows, and there's a lot of big dealers on the top floor that are the same way. That it's like you don't even walk by there, just ignore it because you know that they're going to have jacked up prices every single time. That's how they operate.
Yeah. Well, the downstairs, I love the downstairs, but I go downstairs knowing that I'm not going to buy anything from downstairs. But that's where the cool stuff is. That's typically where, if they do have an exhibit of whoever's the traveling exhibit, it's usually downstairs as well. But the cool stuff is downstairs. But yes, you're right. You know that if you're going downstairs to buy, you better have, like TJ said, a stack of Benjamins, like that guy was shelling out for the revolvers. Yeah, Defense Dad says he was asking because he absolutely has fun at gun shows but struggle finding deals. And I think, like Clover said earlier, gun shows in general, prices are going to be higher. That's just the way it is. Chances are people are buying guns at gun shows and then going to other gun shows trying to make some money on that. So, it's what it is. But yeah, I just think it's not just this show, it's every gun show, but prices in the last year, for obvious reasons, were high. But for the longest time, you couldn't get anything. So the supply and demand has you by the tail sometimes. Go ahead, DJ.
Yeah, there were some guns that were like, I looked at them, that's reasonably priced, but it wasn't what I was looking for. So, I mean, there were quite a few that I was like, oh, I could buy that, but it's not what I was looking for. I was looking for, a specific, 30-30 or something, something cool. I mean, Wild West Gunworks, probably one of their 30-30s is what I end up with eventually.
There was
I like their stuff up there.
I want to see if I can Google this. I just thought of this. Model 38 rifle.
I didn't bring enough stacks with me. That's the problem.
Right. So one of the rifles that I saw that was about a $600 rifle, and I don't know what it goes for. I could probably look it up. But I was looking at it, and it caught my interest because it was a Japanese Type 38 rifle, and it was the World War I, World War II rifle that the Japanese Army, they built 3.5 million. It's a carbine, 31-inch carbine or rifle barrel length, and they had a carbine and a rifle, 31-inch rifle and a 19-inch carbine. 7.62 by 39 was post-war, but during the war it was a 6.5 by 50 millimeter cartridge, and it was a cool thing, and it was $600. It looked like it was in good shape. I don't know if Buck remembers me talking about that. The only reason why I didn't even look at it very long is I don't know what those things were worth. But it was a cool looking rifle. If you guys ever get a chance, go look up Japanese Type 38 rifle, and it was this was a rifle. It was definitely the 30-incher, not the 19-incher. But it was a really cool. I had never seen one before. I never even heard of it before. But they wanted 600, and it was in good shape. But I don't know if that was good. And I might find out later that was like the banging deal of the show, and I missed out on it. I don't know, but yeah, it was one of those things. It was a cool. That was one of the cool things. I had never heard of it. Obviously never seen was. I never even heard of it. But that's, you're just kind of walking by. You're like, oh, what kind of rifle was that? And you're like, Japanese Type 38. That's kind of cool. So yeah, one of those things. Let's see here. Born to be a shooter, Josh says, you think well-made remanufactured? Do you guys think well-made remanufactured is worth the money saving? Say it's $17 versus $20 a box of 9mm. Are you talking about reloads? I'm assuming he's talking about reloads. So here's the thing. No, I don't think, if you're talking $17 versus $20 a box, I don't think it's worth it if it's reloads. Here's why. Unless I was going to reload them, or I was there when someone that I trust reloads them. If you're buying reloads from someone on a source online or something, you have no idea who did that. You have no idea if they're hot, if they're, squibs. You have no idea the quality of components. And I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying I personally, if you're talking 17 versus 20 and I'm buying reloads online, I would probably go manufactured, factory ammo in that situation if I don't reload. So if it was TJ or Rod or Buck or Clover had reloads and they were willing to sell them, which most people that reload aren't willing to sell because of a lot of liability, or they're worried about other people shooting their ammo. But if it was something like that, then yeah, I would trust them. But just buying reloads online, I would have a very big issue with that. If it's only a $3 difference, I'm going factory. TJ, I'm going to start with you. I'm going to go with this question. Reloads versus factory. Let's say it's a $3 difference.
For $3, I do factory all day. There's no question. I mean, unless the ammo gets worse and it's, it goes to like a $10 difference, then I'm like, well, just to have
I would maybe think about it. I might buy a box, try it out, and if I liked it, maybe go back. Yeah.
Right. It'll be one of those to just to have some on hand just in case. I've still got plenty of factory stuff, but when you do your reviews and stuff, you shoot the factory, and then it'd be nice to have some. If I get low, to have some extra.
Yeah. Just to have it, just in case. Yeah. Buck, I'm gonna go to you and say, what do you think? Unknown reloads versus factory.
Well, unknown reloads. Nah, I'm going factory. Now, unless it's somebody like LAX, like a factory reloading them for you. But I ain't going no personal. It's nobody personal reloading like at a gun show.
And he brings up a good point. LAX has a really good reputation of really good reloads, But even to that point, like I said, I might go with TJ. I might buy a box, bring it in, shoot it, make sure everything's good to go, and then I might go buy more. Even with LAX, they were there. I saw LAX was they had a little table there, which I thought was weird. At Wanenmacher, I never seen them before. At least I hadn't remembered seeing them before. But yeah, even LAX, even like the big dogs, I would still be very skeptical. Chloe, what about you? I know what you're going to say, but unknown reloads versus factory.
So
he's gonna go devil's advocate just to fucking piss me off.
Anybody that loads ammunition, okay, get into this thing, reload. Well, what does that mean, right? Because if I buy all brand new components and I load it,
well, okay,
reload,
it
right?
may not be a reload. Yeah,
I get you, but I'm just saying there's people that have these biases when they start talking about it. Yeah. So understand this. Understand that a lot of you've got equipment failures, quality control failures can happen. It doesn't matter if it's Remington, Winchester, or Joe Bob's ammo that is running Mark 7 machines with a competent crew. Accidents and certain machine calibrations and things like that can happen regardless of who it is.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I'm glad you talk about unknown reloads. So if you're at the gun show and they go, oh yeah, this is reloaded stuff, and who did it? I don't know. Well, no, right?
Billy Bob.
And so some random guy, some random person on an internet forum that's loading ammo and selling it, right? No, probably not. But if it's a company and they're set up with decent machinery, and
like an LAX.
Yes,
sure.
And they're using all new components and everything else. Because if you start parsing this factory ammo stuff, well, you start getting into Minuteman, Buffalo Bore. You get into big name brand, Fort Scott. You get into big name brands that technically, under your definition, is a reloader, right? So I'm just saying, you got to be real careful who you're calling that. But yeah, the unknown, just Joe Blow, or I don't know where these came from because they're in a
well, you just
bag.
go online. It says, reloads.
Yeah, no.
$15 a box. What the hell is that?
Like no.
Crystal out there.
That being said, one of the guys downstairs when we were talking about Rod in the 32s is Aardvark Laboratories, and that guy, because we're talking about obscure, hard to find cartridges and stuff. Obviously those are reloads, right? A lot of that brass you can't even get anymore. But I would trust that guy 100%. But again, he's been doing it for many years. He's set up. He understands it. He's also a legit business, got the insurance, got the bonding, got everything else he needs, right? He's not just some dude in his garage. So there's a big difference.
Right. Absolutely. Rod, to bring you in, unknown reloads versus factory. What do you think?
Oh, I would never even buy unknown reloads at all, even if it was for emergency stash. I wouldn't buy probably reloads for most of the people I know.
Yeah,
it's just I don't trust them.
No, I get it. I get it.
Everybody, I don't know. I've shot friends reloads and they were hot and have problems with them, so I just try to stay away from it. Because it would be like if I did reloads, you wouldn't want to shoot my reloads. It would just be a stupid thing for you to do.
Well, and most that I'm glad you brought that up about them being hot loads, right? Most big companies, the least amount of powder and the type of powder, so you're dealing with case volume and stuff, right? They're looking at cost because if you're cranking out thousands around. A little bit of extra powder per cartridge makes a big difference, right?
Yeah.
And so most of your guys, your companies, small companies that are in major production for ammunition, you're not going to get hot loads. I mean, you may have to look for squibs or something like that, right? But you're not going to have a situation where it blows the gun up. I mean, not because it's a hot load. You may have a squib, and if you're not paying attention to that. But again, you can have squibs with big name company ammo.
And I have.
Yes, absolutely.
And you can also have hot loads where it loaded up twice, that double the powder, but you could have that at Remington as well. I mean,
you can, but that's a lot.
It doesn't happen very often. But we had a police officer that got some reloads. This is about 2 or 3 years ago. Got some reloads to do some practice, and had a double load of powder there, and it blew his thumb off, blew part of his hand off, and it was a friend of his ammo. Like I said, and it wasn't like it was intentional by any means. You know, and I'm not a reloader, so I might be using terminology, but if it's not one of those progressive ones where it's a single state and you got to do all of the stuff yourself, you lose track. Someone catches your eye off in a conversation, you lose track. You could very easily could do some weird stuff and you never know. And it only takes one. That's the thing. It only takes one, you know?
Yeah. Well, an individual, yes. But again, if you're set up on a major scale to produce
absolutely,
you're using automation with your machines, the Mark 7s or the Dillon 1050s or something like that. And you literally have a tablet that's plugged up and sensors in play and all kinds of things. And if it double charges or something, it's going to stop the process, right?
But that's what we're talking about, these unknown reloads.
Yeah.
You don't know who's doing it.
I mean, I would buy it from my local reloader. I mean, they that's what they do.
Yeah,
but,
sure. But you know them, and you know all that. I would buy from Buck or Clover if I had to, as I was in that situation, because I'm pretty sure it's a Buck, Clover. I'm desperate. I've got to have something. Can you make some for me? One, I trust them, but I also trust them to know that if they were making ammo for me, they're probably going to be pretty, they would be safe anyways, but they'd probably be extra careful just in case,
more vigilant.
So like I said, the unknown, I think, was a key word in that question, was unknown, remanufactured. That's a scary proposition. And I'll put it to you this way, and I'm not speaking, I'm speaking from personal experience. I don't know too many people that aren't like a LAX or a big major manufacturer, like just friends or people that are in their garages. I don't know too many of them that are willing to sell their ammo because they want to shoot their ammo because if something happens, it's on them. But I don't know any. Like, I mean, I've even asked Clover before, hey, if there came a point in time where I needed 1,000 rounds of 9, would you be willing? And this is one of my best friends in the world. He says, man, I mean, I'd have to really think about it. And I think that's a common theme,
It's like, you're more than happy to buy the components, come down here and spend a week.
Come down here and use my stuff. Absolutely.
All day long. I'll show you how to crank the handle. But as far as me doing it, I don't know.
And I think that's a common theme. If you have someone, and once again, I'm not judging anything.
Because it's not hard.
I mean, guy out of their garage who is reloading for the purpose of selling to the public, I'd be kind of skeptical about that. I'm just saying. I'm not judging. I'm just saying because I don't know any of them that would do that.
Reloading is not difficult. I mean, there's a very defined process.
Sure.
Where it gets tricky is with load development and stuff.
Sure.
If you're just talking practice ammo, plinking ammo, or run and gun type ammo, that sort of stuff, it's not really that big a deal. It's literally a trained monkey can do it once the load is developed and the equipment is set, right? It's pretty easy. So people, I get that question all the time with reloading. I mean, people want to get into it and they just think it's a super huge complex thing. And it's like, not really. It's fairly simple. I mean, it's a case. You got to have an ignition source. You got to have a fuel source and something to push out the end of the barrel. And obviously they're just like a recipe for a cake. I mean, all that has to be in certain proportions and match up and everything else. But outside of that, not a big deal as long as you don't turn the oven up too high, right?
Setting your equipment. Make this to a damn food chat again, bringing up cake.
Working on it. Yeah.
He was crowbarring it in there for sure.
He was definitely trying. Go ahead, TJ.
I've got a book for the reloads. It's easy. It is, here it is. I've got all the stuff, and I haven't started yet, but it's on my list.
Well, I know Buck, we were talking on the trip up and on the trip back. He's got all the reloading stuff at the house. He's got a couple different setups. And I know that he's been talking about, probably starting to do some reloading and all that. I've actually thought about doing some, buying components and using a buddy of mine's press and all that for my 6.5 Creed, not because I want to, for competition. I'm very happy with the Horny Match 140 grain that I'm using. The problem is I just can't find the shit. And if it is, it's $75 a box. And for me, the reloading would be not trying to save money. It's just the availability. If I need 100 rounds for this match and I can't find it, I'd like to be able to go and reload just so I have ammo for a match. So I'm thinking about having to do that.
That formula as well, you know.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying is, I mean, I could get all the components exactly. I can save the brass from Horny. I can go get the projectiles from Horny. I can get everything the same. But for me, it would just be more importantly of having the availability of it. Yeah. It's not for saving money at this point, you know.
Well, if you are going to do that, Trey, you better start now looking for the components. Even if you don't do it, you can always sell it later on.
Well, I was looking this weekend, and yeah, I'm gonna have to start. Crystal's out there saying,
"Right now's not the time. Right now's not the time to start looking for it." Honestly,
that's kind of what I was gathering because you and I, Clover, had talked a few weeks ago about in general times, normal times, what prices of these components were. That's not at all what I was seeing this weekend. So
primers, powders, people think ammo, obviously. Oh, well, times are good, I'm going to buy a bunch of this ammo. And even if you don't reload, primers, brass, bullets, especially in popular calibers, powder, all of that is, do your research on what brass, what primers, what powder, what bullets are used in popular calibers, and buy that stuff, even if you see it on the shelf in good times, and put it up.
Yep. Now this will probably be, you guys will know a lot more about this than I will, but Jacob says, if somewhere were to reload brass like 30-06 at factory loads, would that come out to about equal to what a factory made box? He's talking price wise. If you were going to reload at factory loads, what would the price comparison be? What do you guys think?
Right now, who knows? In normal times, no, it would be cheaper for sure.
Yeah. Weston, we saw Wes, had dinner with Wes. He came in and had dinner for the Saturday night as well. We always see Wes out there. It was good seeing him again. And he said, did anyone see Hickok? He didn't see him, but he was there. Yeah, we saw Hickok. Matter of fact, so Buck and I were downstairs and I saw a guy, and I kind of made a comment, I think, to Buck. And I said, man, that looks like Hickok if he had a really bad night. I mean, he was frail, kind of hunched over, just didn't look good. I said, that looked like Hickok if he's had a really bad night, and didn't think anything about it. And then about an hour or so, we were outside smoking, and Clover's like, hey, did you see Hickok? And I was like, well, does he here for sure? And he goes, yeah, he's here. And I said, well, was he wearing like a hat and like and we were talking about jean jacket and a hat and all that. And I was like, yep, that was him. And I said, I didn't think it was him. He looked terrible. He looked frail. I mean, he did not look like the Hickok that I remember from a couple years ago, at least. I don't know if he was sick, if he was just tired. I mean, he's not young. We know that. And a lot can happen in 2 years. But yes, I saw Hickok. I didn't think it was him at first. I didn't know it was him until about an hour later, because I was like, that looks like him, but it's not him. It was him. So I was kind of shocked to see. I don't know. For me,
we also seen Barry's twin again too.
We did see Barry's twin again. I think it was the same guy we saw a few years ago. It was down there by he was over there by Rod's.
It was a couple tables over, I think.
Was it? Yeah, we saw him. Yeah. Yeah, Barry's doppelganger was there for sure. Got to see Two Gun Kitty this weekend. It was nice to see him and meet him. Yep. He said the gun show was worst place to buy components. Right. Bass Pro and Shields have been his go-to for reloading. Yeah, I know a lot of people use Shields. A lot of people have said that's a pretty good source to get reloading stuff. I wouldn't know. I've never done it. So yeah, it was good to see him. Got to saw Two Guns, saw Wes. Mr. Wright was there, and he had a buddy with him. It was nice to see. It's been a couple years, 2 or 3 years since we've seen Wright. It was good to see him again. So I want to go to Rod now and kind of transition this to the vendor side, because none of us have the experience. And I know that you don't have any experience to draw on from other shows, But as a vendor, how I would like to kind of get some information from you is how was it the months leading up to Wanenmacher, dealing with them, making sure that the communication back and forth. I know that the communication can be interesting for Clover for the media side, but for you as a vendor, was it communication, getting everything reserved and telling where your table was and all of that? How was that? And then also now leading into the show as a vendor, what did you think of Wanenmacher?
Okay, the communication getting set up and confirmed, that was easy, simple.
Okay,
it was
good.
Clean. They sent us our stuff. No, that was very easy. They were very much on top of that.
Okay.
So we didn't have a problem there. Matter of fact, I even got a call from a lady after I signed up, got my thing in, had the check was already in the mail. Before they even got the check, she called and she goes, "I've got a note here with this name and phone number. Was I supposed to call you?" Or I said, "No, I'm already done." But they weren't sure, so they just called to make sure. So that part was very good.
Nice.
And as far as the vendor part being there, it was actually what I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
You would think that from the small shows we do of you typically 300 to 400 tables, that we would just kill it at a big show like that. But like I told Shelly, we talked about the problem with us going down there is now we become a very small fish in a huge pond.
Huge pond. Yeah.
At home, we're a local company, and we're the only one doing what we do
people
there.
Know you. Sure.
And yeah, we sell a lot better. We actually make more sales at home at gun shows. Make more money on the weekends doing them there. But I had nothing taken away from the little shows. They're just not as cool as Wanenmacher was, though. But we did all right, though. I'm not saying we didn't do all right. We did. Yeah. We did all right. So
it's also
that's
a reason.
Interesting. Yeah, go ahead.
It's also a reason to go to the largest gun show in the world and then write it off too.
This is true.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. So no, I'm not at all disappointed in how we did.
And that's an interesting thought process that, most consumers don't think about is, yes, you're going to the largest gun show in the world. And you, like you said, you go to a local gun show, it might be 400 to 500 tables. This is 4,000 to 5,000 tables. And it's one of those, maybe even more, it depends on the show. But yeah, you're talking about, you can stand out in a 400 table show, but you're one of many thousands of tables at this thing, and you may not get the traffic. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, you might get less traffic at Wanenmacher than you would at a smaller gun show.
Because we're just another table with a good looking woman and a troll sitting there selling products. So I mean, nothing special. Yeah.
Two Gun Kitty says, I'm used to big local gun shows, 800 to 1,000 tables. You don't realize how big Wanenmacher is. And it's not just the tables, the amount of tables. We're talking the space it takes up, 11 acres under one roof. And when you walk in for the first time, you're like, oh my, this is massive. The building's massive,
Well, the problem with being a vendor, though, was the annoying, awkward people that try to move in when you're doing an interview with somebody. Huh, snob? So you have that.
Now, Shelly says that we have found out that we missed the excitement Friday morning. Rod can fill you in. So what happened that you missed on Friday morning?
Oh, yeah, before we all got there, the guy that had the table by us the guns, he went Friday morning and bought a gun from another guy.
Yeah.
That he knew, a 22 rifle. I guess it was. It was all the he had the tie through the trigger, whatever you're doing, had everything on there. He's walking down the hallway with it, and that tie thing slipped and hit the trigger some other well, and the gun went off and there was a round in it.
Oh, I didn't hear about that. Oh my gosh.
And I don't know who the people were involved in it, but they went back and looked at some video and saw that you could actually tell that he didn't from the video. He didn't pull the trigger. He wasn't playing with it. He didn't put the rounds in the gun.
And he didn't load it. So, yeah.
And then he didn't load it because they have video. They were able to pick it up
You
on the
can't
video.
check it because they got it tied off. You can't check it, you know.
Yeah, and I guess he wished he'd have done that. But I guess the vendor got kicked out. So they removed him that morning.
I know that there was an ND, was it about 3 or 4 years ago? Maybe it was 5 years. Maybe our first year there. There was an ND that someone shot the ground or something. Remember that, Clover? They were telling us about that?
Yeah, this one didn't. And I guess I didn't. He told Shelly about the story that she was telling me, and I talked to him about a lot of other stuff.
Did it go up, or I mean, luckily it didn't kill
right
anybody.
into the floor. He was holding it down.
Oh, the floor. Okay.
That's what he told Shelly. He said, I'm glad there wasn't a lot of people down, and I at least had the muzzle pointed at the floor.
I bet you he was scared shitless.
He told Shelly it just scared the holy living shit out of him. He thought he was scared. He didn't know what happened.
Holy cow. Now, Lance out there says, is that TJ or Tim McGraw on the panel next to Ghost? Don't get him get a big head. Don't give him a big head. TJ says, I'm much better looking than Tim McGraw.
I know. God. It's like a troll.
You wouldn't mind his money, though.
Who says I don't have it?
This is true.
I think he has it. He does.
I think he does too. This dude was wearing wingtip shoes all weekend to walk around Wanenmacher. That's classy.
The whole working man thing is a scam. He's just trying to throw people off.
Definitely.
You guys didn't know his rich uncle died several years ago and left him like $30 million.
Oh, only like 27.
Oh, 27. I'm sorry.
Let's not exaggerate here.
The working man is BS. He's just trying to throw people off. He's trying to throw the IRS off.
I like to dress homeless every day, and then when I go out, I dress up nice.
Let's go through the room. Rod, what was the coolest thing you saw all weekend at Wanenmacher?
I don't know. I really don't. But I did I saw some of the little cannons and stuff. I thought those were cool.
Yeah, those are cool.
I would like to have one of them little ones on my desk and shoot it off every once in a while in the house. The blank, I think that'd be fun.
Sure. That's a whole different meaning to a desk pop.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a desk boom.
I just thought all of it was cool to me. It was all pretty cool. It was neat to see that many young people buying and selling stuff in one building together. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's something that you mentioned in our we did a little interview, and it'll be coming out here in the next couple of days. But you said, one of the coolest things that you noticed was that many people in one place. It was like America. I mean, it was like, it was these gun people were there. We were making statements all weekend that there's a good chance between the security and everything that was there, that building very well could have been one of the safest places to be in America this weekend.
And that is something I did like, though. Those guys, they're on top of it with their security. They really are.
Yeah.
I was paying attention, looking around, and they really are on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of nice to know.
Except for Friday morning, apparently.
Well, no, they were on top of that, too.
No, I'm just joking.
Apparently, they were quite on top of that one.
I'm sure they were.
But you couldn't be an idiot in there, and it wouldn't last but a second or two, and people would be all over you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No doubt. Jacob wants to know what wingtip shoes are. Now, understand that Jacob's like 23, 24 years old. So, he probably doesn't know what wingtips are. Google it. That's what most of us grew up wearing with, suits and all that. Yeah. And some people walk 11 miles a day with them on. So, yeah.
Yeah. Some people are reflexing too. So
when you buy good ones, they're just like wearing sneakers.
Johnson and Murphy I own Johnson. They're some of my favorite shoes. I still would not walk around Wanenmacher or SHOT Show with them on. Now, if you wear them during SHOT Show, you and I are going to have issues.
Oh, I'm going to. I'm bringing them.
Absolutely nuts. Buck, bring you in. Doesn't have to be a firearm, but what was if one thing stands out in your mind? What was the coolest thing you saw at Wanenmacher this weekend?
Quickly, we got our Philly steak cheese sandwich.
Roy hooked us up. I'm not going to lie. Roy hooked us up.
No, not really. Nothing pops out in mind. Just everything was awesome. I thought, just seeing a little bit of everything.
Yeah. This damn hat just kind of got weird on me. All right, it's all good.
Well, there was a bunch of rude people up there, though.
There was at least one right next to our table. That guy, whatever, it is what it is. Yeah, he just turned 24 in October. Jacob did. So, yeah, most people were great. Most people were great. There's an asshole everywhere though. So that's what it is.
Yeah, but I stayed in my own booth for the most part.
You had Shelly there that kind of offset your assholeness. So we're just glad that Shelly was. We didn't give a shit if you were there all weekend. We just wanted to see Shelly. So
yeah, so I've heard.
You probably get that a lot, don't you? TJ, coolest thing you saw, like whether it was a gun or an exhibit, whatever.
The cool thing I like the I actually went downstairs to the Ruger exhibit and I checked that out, and that was pretty cool to see all that stuff down there.
Yep.
I'm a big Ruger fan anyways, but it was I went through and I was like, Crystal's like, what are you doing? I was like, just go look at some jewelry or something. I'm gonna look at this for a little while.
I'll be here a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me check it out. So I checked that out. That was neat. I mean, when you see stuff you've never seen or you learn something, it's always neat.
Yeah. Clove, was there anything that stood out to you? I mean, you've been going a while, but there's always new stuff every show. But was there something that sticks out in your mind?
Yeah,
Besides the cannons.
Besides the cannons.
Well, the cannons are pretty regular, except for that really big one. That really big one that was there was kind of new. I don't know if I've ever seen one that big there. But as far as, you see things, you see things that you have never seen before, regardless of how many times you go. And it's so big and there's so many guns there. I seen something that I didn't know even existed. I seen a double barrel side by side hammer fired 22.
Oh,
I thought you were telling me about that. Yeah, I never even heard of something like that.
And it did not have a price. Yeah. And so I looked at it. I did not have my magnifying glass with a light, so I couldn't look for markings or anything like that on it. It was definitely old. And I was like, whoa, that is just weird. And I just walked away because it was like, no telling how much it probably.
Right. Once again, it comes back. If you've never seen it before, you don't even know it existed. Yeah. Probably can't afford it.
But I'm thinking, oh my gosh, a hammer fired double barrel. Like really? So that as far as a gun, one thing that it's the first time I think I've seen it at that show, and I suspect we'll start seeing it more and more in the future, was the guy that had the 3D printer.
Oh yeah,
with all of the stuff. And I did buy some stuff from him, and I think
Buck got something from him as well.
Yeah. I think that's officially given me the bug to probably come Black Friday, if there's a good deal, buy a 3D printer. But that's the first time I'd seen anybody actually set up. He had the 3D printer there and was running stuff all weekend, which was kind of cool. As and then he had all kinds of firearm related stuff and even non-firearm related stuff he had 3D printed out there. And it was just a cool display of what all you can do with those. So he was even, he had, we all know about the gun parts and the different things you can print, and he had all kinds of stuff like that he had printed. It was crazy. Of course, that kind of begs the question that you talked about, earlier about trusting somebody's reloads. Would you trust somebody's 3D prints? That's a whole other question, right? If it's a firearm part, right? Like a receiver or a whatever, I
never thought about that.
Yeah.
That is something that I would have to know them personally. I'd have to trust them. If we're talking like a receiver, a lower or something like that, I would definitely need to know them. Yeah, I don't know. I don't. If I didn't know them personally and had at least know people that have used their lowers or frames or whatever before, I probably wouldn't, honestly. Once again, we're talking difference between a 3D printed gun display versus something that's going to make go a tiny explosion 6 inches from your face, a little bit different story there, So I probably would. I don't know what do you guys think? Would you guys trust a 3D printed lower if you didn't know who it was?
I mean, it would definitely depend on the part, like
well, that's true too. Yeah.
Yeah, a display, no problem. Nothing that had to do with the actual, the receiver, probably.
Yep.
Receiver parts, probably.
Maybe like a swivel, a sling swivel, or some
like
maybe, but nothing that's going to actually make the firearm work. Yeah.
So, TJ, what he's saying, if I 3D printed you a barrel, you wouldn't trust it and try it?
No, love you, man,
A
but
barrel? Maybe for a BB gun, Yeah. I don't know. I would have to know them. I'd have to know them very well, and not only know them, but know people that have used their stuff without fail. And then I'd still, I don't know, maybe. But yeah, the three guy. I know that you got some stuff. I know Buck got something from the 3D print. I'm assuming it was the same guy. Was it not Buck?
Yeah, me and Clover bought them at the same time.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So,
yeah.
Now we were talking, Clover, and we were talking, people were talking about, and I don't know if it was you, but I think it was at dinner Saturday night. They were talking about 3D printing or whatever. And it's that most people think that 3D printing is like taking a block of plastic and shaving it to make the part. And it's the absolute opposite of that. Correct?
Right. Correct. They see it as a meal, right? Because that's how you mill something. If you take a block and you mill it into whatever you want, 3D printer it literally prints the plastic
resin or whatever it is. Yeah, the plastic into the form. Yeah.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. So, starting January 1, you can probably get all your 3D printed gear. He's knowing Clover. He's going to figure out a way to 3D print some tobacco pipes. What do you bet? What do you bet? Clover Tack branded pipes. That would be kind of cool.
That'd be cool.
Ooh.
Now, I only want 80% of your earnings on those. Just saying.
So here's the thing. I don't know what kind of temperatures they'll withstand. There would definitely need to be some inserts going on,
or some coating inside of it. Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Something. Yeah, but that's a thought, man.
That wouldn't be too expensive to coat it with something, though.
Yeah, there's going to be some stuff. I'm going to definitely come up with some FUD accessories for sure for shotguns and other things. I just don't know what.
He's going to start making his own.
Maybe a sling swivel mounted Copenhagen can holder or something.
You're all going to get keychains.
Right.
No, that could be cool, though. Doing like dog tag keychains or something with a 3D printer. That could be kind of cool, Basically, and the cool thing and I don't know, I've never done it, but I understand about the 3D printers like community is they're kind of like other community. There's people that are into that. They have forums, they have Facebook groups, and they have like designs they share like, hey, anyone, I'm looking for this kind of design for something like this. Oh yeah, check this website, or here's my design. And it's a pretty big sharing community of design. So that's kind of cool. I mean, that's a whole new community that you probably enjoy getting involved in,
Oh yeah, I definitely need another community to get involved in for sure.
Exactly. I mean, all you do is sit around do nothing all day. I mean, it's not like you do any video creation or not like you have 17 YouTube channels. So, I mean, just trying to find time to waste some time a day. Might as well do it.
Exactly.
And between 13 pies.
He'll have a 3D printing channel before too long on YouTube. I promise you. Probably. Yeah, and he's gonna be doing some cool woodworking stuff possibly in the near future too. So there's 2 more Clover Tack channels coming to YouTube.
At least 2,
at least 2.
Watch it. You have to start waking up earlier.
Yeah, you can't get that 12 to 14 hours sleep anymore.
No.
Sure, I can.
Calaveras. Now, Calaveras, he's a weird pipe smoker too, but he said a branded pipe would be cool. Might be for display only. Yeah, I mean, it could be for display only, but that could be like a Patreon perk or something for you or something,
Throw a brass insert in that, go over top of it, you'll be all right.
Yeah, I think you could do it very easily. Yeah. I mean, because you could put your logo or whatever and do all that, but inside of the actual bowl, do whatever you need to do to smoke it. But that'd be kind of a cool thing because you couldn't have hardly anything into the actual pipe frame itself because it's plastic. You might have a buck or two into that, whatever you use to fill it, but that would be kind of cool. Like,
if you do it and it's zombie green, I'm in.
Ooh, a zombie green corn cob.
I'm in.
Like, you make the pipe out of the plastic or whatever, but you like get some corn cob and like glue it around the outside to make it look like a corn cob. And then everything else, the stem, I don't even know what it's called, but the stem
why
of it.
Why would
green?
you just?
Oh, yeah.
Well, just print. You could print it. You could 3D print it where it'd be rough like corn cob, and then 3D print the stem in a different color.
Yeah.
I'm thinking you can make them where they're usable, though. I'm seriously thinking that you can find some inserts of some sort.
I mean, that's how they do the polymer lowers. They get the brass insert in them. I mean, you'd probably do the same thing with the pipe. I mean, you could probably even do aluminum insert. I mean, depending on temperature.
A ceramic is probably going to be the better way to go.
There you go.
But is that going to be more expensive?
Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know. To be honest.
Just get you a kiln and just do one more channel pottery.
But you could also do it. But I mean, there's a bunch of different ways and a bunch of different things that you could use for sure. So yeah.
By the way, this is officially, as Jeff likes to call it, this is the shit shooting portion of the show.
It's off the rails at this point. Yeah,
but it's fun. I think this is what people like. This is what people like. We're having discussions. We're not afraid to go down rabbit holes as long as it's a fun discussion. And Rich is saying out there, thin filament, essentially electronically welded into whatever shape is programmed into the machine.
Yeah.
So that could, I don't know, but I'm sure that you would be able to figure it out. But yeah, I mean, like a pipe, that's something cool. Like a CloverTech branded pipe would be kind of cool,
I mean, I think who was it? Bowers made a 3D printed suppressor, didn't they?
Oh yeah, that's I so wish suppressors would come off the NFA, and that is why. Not even necessarily come off the NFA, right? Just if there wasn't any long wait, even if they just said, hey, you can pay as long as you pay the tax, you can do it. I would form one a 3D, especially 22 suppressor in a heartbeat, because there's no doubt. Say,
in a plastic suppressor, honestly, aside from 22, honestly, how many shots would you think you can get out of that?
Not many.
It was a metal polymer or something or whatever.
And even
now, if you put a metal or the plastic over it, I don't know. I don't know. I can't imagine it outside of 22 being very, very long lasting.
Well, but even on a 22, if you're talking semi-auto and you're shooting very fast, the whole point is the heat. The heat is what's going to be problematic. Because the filament, the polymer, the whatever you're using, even if it's a higher temp stuff, it's going to heat up. And as it heats up, what does plastic do? It droops, it warps, it melts it. And then the next thing you know, you're getting baffle strikes, right? So it would have to be on a FUD 22. It'd have to be on a single shot bolt action, something you're shooting slower. But it totally would work.
Just like the one I just bought? Would that work?
Yeah, not so much.
Oh, you're 22. I was like, what? What did you just buy? Oh, you're 22. Yeah, probably not. Yeah, probably not.
Oh, I forgot to tell you. That guy said it was 10 round magazines. They're 28.
Yeah.
They're 28 rounds. Both of them.
Why did he say they were 10?
Because one of them, you pull it back and it gets hung up a little bit.
You gotta love idiots. Yeah. Well, he was like, I'm sorry, man. I got 2 magazines with this thing, but they're both 10 rounders. And I was like, what? So they're 28 rounders? Good. There you go. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you didn't go and buy a couple 22 LR AR mags then, because you don't need them.
If I would have found one of those ones like I bought, I would have.
Oh, well, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Buck got, I'll tell you what, Buck raided the Black Rain Ordnance swag shop this weekend.
Yeah, I did.
They have some really cool stuff. They really do. We're looking forward to saw Clint and Ryan there this weekend. I'm looking forward to seeing them. Really happy for them because they're moving up to the big floor this year from the dungeon. They actually had an opportunity to get over to Caesars. Now that Caesars is opening up to part of shot, they were one of the first ones to get over to Caesars. And the cool thing about that is they were going to be able to choose their location in Caesars, and then that be their permanent location. And they did that. And then I think he said Tuesday or Wednesday of last week, they get a call from NSSF and said, I think that was going to be like a 20 by 40 booth in the Caesars. And it says, we've got like a 40 by 50 spot opening up right between Beretta and Glock on the main floor. Do you want it? And he said, there's no way, even though we could have picked our spot at Caesars, he said we were a little apprehensive of who was going to be able to walk over to Caesars. But people remember that we're over at Caesars. And he says, but we're between Glock and Beretta on the main floor. And it's not like it's a 1 year thing. It was like, hey, we got this for this year. Do you want it for this year? It was, this opened up. It is yours if you want it. And they said, yeah, we want it. So they're going to be on the main floor between Glock and Beretta. If nothing else, there's going to be a shit ton of foot traffic in that area. So good for them. They said they're having to redo their whole new, because it's about 3 times the size of their booth in the dungeon. And you guys, Clover and TJ, you've seen their booth in the dungeon. They had a nice setup in the dungeon, but now they have to redo everything. They said it's going to be awesome. So I'm really, really awesome. Did they get into SIG spot? No, they didn't get it. SIG had one of the largest real estate plots at SHOT Show. Now, that being said, they might have taken SIG spot and broken into 4 different big ass booths, but no, this wasn't SIG spot because SIG wasn't between Glock and Beretta, if I remember. I think it was down a little bit more. Yep. Down there by Smith & Wesson and by Safari Land, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right about
Federal,
that?
Yeah, it was
Federal and all that area.
Federal and all it.
Yeah. But SIG had one of the largest real estate in SHOT. So for this year only, there's no telling what they're going to do with it. They're going to get it used, I'm sure, but they might make that into 3 or 4 different booths just for this 1 year, assuming SIG comes back next year. But yeah, SIG's booth is enormous. You could probably put Beretta and Glock and Walther. I wouldn't say Smith & Wesson. Smith & Wesson's pretty big, but you can put 2 or 3 of them together and probably not get the size of SIG's booth because they spend a ton of money. You're muted, TJ.
Yeah, I know. The Glock booth isn't that big. I mean, it's pretty big, but it's not. And you do that one, yeah, probably Beretta. Yeah, probably at least 4.
Mm-hmm. SIG's massive
over there.
CZ, because CZ's the smaller one.
Yep.
I'm going to say,
but it was
Safari Land's booth is massive as well, but I think even it's smaller than SIG's.
Yeah,
it's close. It's close. Safari Land's got a massive booth, but I think SIG's is bigger than Safari Land. It's close. It's about the same size.
It's one of the biggest over there.
Yeah.
When you go over, you can't miss it. You're like, am I out of SIG yet? No. You gotta go.
Yeah, been walking for 10 minutes. Yeah. Calaveras says SIG not at SHOT Show. No, SIG pulled out of SHOT Show this year. So there you go. There you go.
Hey, do y'all think that SHOT Show is going to turn out to be like Tulsa?
As far as what?
As far as people going and stuff.
Probably. I don't think it's going to be skeleton crew as far as people going. I will say that there are a lot of people that I know that aren't going because of proposed face covering stuff, what you have to do on planes and all of that. So yeah, do I think it's going to be, instead of 85,000, it might be 50,000. It's still going to be a big show. The great thing about that is bring it on, because that's just good for me and everyone else that is going to be there. It's going to be a better show for the people that did decide to go. That's just my opinion.
So interestingly enough, and
I was going to plug that, but go ahead.
And also a plug, I will have the NSSF on the podcast Thursday, so be looking for that live at 2:30 Eastern, or in replay. With that being said, I can tell you now some companies that are 100% absolutely committed to SHOT at this point, which is Beretta, Browning, Daniel Defense, Davidson's, Federal Ammunition, Fiocchi, FN, Glock, Hornady, Kimber, Leupold, Stevens, Lipsy's, LWRC, Magpul, Mossberg, Nation's Best Sports, North American Arms, Remington, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Springfield, and Winchester, all 100% committed. So there you go.
Yeah.
For those naysayers that go, oh, since SIG pulled out, all these other people are pulling out. Well, those are all committed. So,
yeah.
Well, when you have him on your show there, Clover, kind of sweet talk him into just giving us a little booth for free. If you do that for me, I appreciate it.
Try. I don't mind. It don't hurt to ask, right?
Just take a
so I just got a text, a couple of pictures.
You can have Hickok's spot on the second floor east side bathroom if you want it, Rod.
There you go.
And you don't know what that means. We can have that discussion. Yeah, we can have that discussion on what that means with the bathroom in Hickok. So it is what it is. I have a friend of mine that texted me a week or two ago and was saying that he wasn't going to go because of possible tracking information and all that. And I was like, bro, they've been tracking for a couple of years now. And it's not just SHOT Show. It's most shows now. Conventions do that because they're able to give analytics to companies of where foot traffic is, how many people stop by your individual booth. That stuff's important. So there's some, I'm not saying misinformation. There might be misunderstood information. Yes, we're going to be tracked at SHOT Show. We have been for the last 2 or 3 years. But that's for analytics for the vendors. If you don't want it, I'm sure you could probably pull that chip out of your badge. Just saying. I don't know that. I'm just saying that it's not like it's a permanent thing. It's a piece of paper with a chip in there. I'm sure you could probably figure out a way to take that out.
They're injecting them into your arm this year.
Yeah, that's right. That's it. You got to get another shot.
Yeah.
Now he's like, I ain't going.
One shot is the vaccine. The other shot's the chip. You'll be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've said this from the very beginning, and I'll say this every year. Some people just don't like SHOT. I get it. I do. I can understand why a lot of people don't like SHOT. It's cool. I love SHOT. I love everything about SHOT. If SHOT is happening, I don't care at what capacity. For me, it sounds, and this might piss some people off, it is worthwhile to me to have to go put a face covering in when you walk through the door of SHOT, because there's no way they're going to enforce it over 50, 60,000 people. They might put their signs up. They might even put the recording being played over the loudspeakers, but there's no way they're going to force face coverings. To me, it's worth putting a face covering on my face when I walk in a door to be at SHOT. It may not be for some people. I get that, and I don't judge them. We all in this room have a very good friend that may not go because of that reason. And I would hate to not see him at SHOT Show because of that. That's his prerogative. For me, if SHOT Show's happening, I'm there. That's just the way I feel about, I love SHOT Show. So, and I know a lot of people don't, and that's cool. SHOT Show is my favorite week of the year. I look forward to SHOT Show. I'll put it to you this way. I get about 6 hours sleep a night. The week leading up, not during SHOT Show, the week leading up to SHOT Show, I get very little sleep because I'm freaking fired up. And usually it's Clover Tack and I are on the phone till 3 a.m, just being like little kids about SHOT Show. But that's just it's what it is. But yeah, I love SHOT Show. I'll be there. And Clover, it is nice. Two things. One, it is great to hear some of the Mount Rushmore of companies in our industry, and the big dogs in our industry that are 100% committed to SHOT Show. That means they're committed to the industry. Once more importantly, that means they're committed to the NSSF. And we've had this discussion a lot. Most people in our community don't truly understand what all the NSSF does for the industry / community. And I think they're getting ready to find out Thursday in your podcast, but the NSSF is extremely important to the industry and to our community and culture that people may not even realize. So I'm looking forward to, you said 2:30 Eastern. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Looking forward to that. Were you going to say something, TJ? Go ahead.
No. I said,
I saw you unmute, so I didn't know.
Yeah, I'll be at SHOT. I'm going regardless. Like I said, it's I missed it last year. Where I think it's it's one of the biggest shows. We need to go. Regardless of a little stipulation is fine, but like I agree, they're not going to be able to enforce crap. Really, I don't think.
I don't even think they're going to try to enforce it. I mean, they just had SEMA that was there last week. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? And that's like the biggest show in Vegas.
It's for some people though. It's still a great monetary and time investment to where they're like,
no doubt.
If I take that chance, and it happens, I'm stuck in Vegas, and so I see it. But for me, it's like, my plane tickets are like $120. What do I care?
Now Crystal says she can't wait to go. So we were talking this weekend about, you were trying to talk her into it. Apparently she said she's going. I was talking with Snob about this weekend, and he said that Jeremy from Wild West Guns, and they're there in Vegas, but they also throw a party, I think, that he and Obnoxious Sarge and Gary went to. I think maybe even TJ and Jeff might have gone to that. I'm not sure. But he talked to Jeremy and said that it's 100% happening this year, so much that he's already ordering food for the party. So there you go. I mean, it's the unfortunate thing is I was talking to the guy at the Leatherneck Club last week a little bit, and I sent him a message who owns Leatherneck Club. That's where the Marine party is. And I said, hey, just checking in. Are you guys going to have the Marine party? And he says, probably not in the official capacity with the sponsors, because the main sponsor isn't coming to SHOT this year. But he says they'll be hanging out. There'll be a lot of Marines, but there won't be the official sponsored Marine party unless someone in the next 2 months, which very easily could happen, steps up to that sponsor. But there'll still be the Marine party that happens. It just won't be at the grand scale. So that was a little disappointing, but hopefully anyone out there is listening to this, if you're, not that they are, but if anyone's out there listening that's going to be at SHOT that has a company, maybe if you've got Marines that are your employees or whatever, that might be something you call the Leatherneck Club. And if you're willing to donate some money to sponsor the Marine party, it's a blast. So that might be something you look into. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah. All right. So we're coming up on the 2-hour mark. It's been great. Rod, I want to get you any closing comments and remarks about this past weekend. And then I also want to give you a few minutes to go ahead and plug your products, any websites and all that. And I'll be throwing links out there while you're doing that.
Yeah. No remarks. Maybe since I see Snobs in the comment at some point, ask him about his annoying little interview, but other than that, we're good. I guess I think we can be found at www.aegisguncare.com. It's not going to be huge news coming up soon, but we got something I think is pretty dang cool that we'll be before too long announcing to do with our products. So, other than that, not a whole lot to do. Just it's getting to be close to be Christmas time, people. We have some awesome Christmas gifts. So
the field kit is well worth a gift for Christmas for sure. I know that you see, this is the great thing is you had Wanenmacher this weekend, but traveling to Wanenmacher and traveling from Wanenmacher back home, there was a lot of business on the road that you were having to conduct, which I think it wasn't just this weekend. This whole probably last 10 days was a work trip for you because you had to stop by, see different people, and hopefully some deals were made. So that's good.
Yeah, plus got to see some friends and stuff. Also, I know I put something up on Instagram earlier, but I just want to do it again. So there's everybody on here, and there's some in the chat. Everybody there we met, that supported us. We thank you guys so much. We appreciate that more than you'll know how cool it was. It was kind of cool for you guys to come and interview us too. Whether you ever show the interviews, and they were so stupid, it really gathered attention. People are looking, who the hell are these guys that they keep getting interviewed?
Yeah.
So
that's part of it. No joke. So this was, what was the first year we went? 2017, 2016, something like that. We went as media, and like the next show, like I think like in November, and so the next April, there were a couple booths that literally set up a camera on a tripod out in front of their booth, not filming anything, but had the camera and tripod because, like you said, people were walking by seeing a camera and a tripod doing interviews. Like they stop and say, well, what's going on here? There are booths that put a camera and tripod in front of their booth to make it look like they, I mean, it was just, but that's the thing. I mean, no matter what show you go to, whether it's NRA, SHOT Show, whatever, you see a bunch of cameras in front of a booth, then yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
Questions.
And I don't know if anything will come of it. I'm just going to throw this out there, but I don't know if that was the reason. But after these interviews took place, all of a sudden, one of the gentlemen from Durkin Tactical across the aisle come over to talk to us.
Yep.
So I think kind of got their attention. Like, what are these hillbillies doing? Let's go take a look. You know.
Now, Stacy's a little butthurt. Said that Rod called me a Karen.
Well, don't jump out of a car after you've been speeding and act like a Karen. So
sometimes the truth hurts, Stacy. Just saying.
What she gets for eyeing me.
Exactly. But I am disappointed that it wasn't really a Karen because I was so excited there for a second or two. Thought this is going to be a hell of a show. Let's go.
Yep. Awesome. I think Defense Dad said he finally hit 1,000. Does that mean you hit 1,000 subs? That's awesome. Congratulations. And I think Roll Call over the weekend hit 1,000 subs as well. So congrats to both of those guys. Keep doing awesome work. And I promise you, the more subs you get, it kind of feeds on itself. So it won't take you near as long to get the next 1,000, but just keep being consistent. You guys are doing great work. But yeah, congratulations, Double D. Appreciate you doing all the stuff that you do, man. Congrats. It's awesome.
Well, with that being said, I'm not a YouTuber, don't have a YouTube channel, but we sure could use some more followers on our Instagram channel. That's for sure. I'm just saying. You know,
well, I put your website link out there. So I want everyone to do me a favor that's watching this live and replay and podcast. Go to Instagram and just search Aegis Gun Care. It's AEGIS. Give them a follow. And if you feel up to it on one of their latest posts up there, just say Ghost sent me or whatever. I don't care if you do that or not. Just go and follow him or him and Shelly on Instagram, Facebook, all of that. But I think you do quite a bit of work on Instagram more than Facebook. I think it automatically posts to Facebook, right?
Yeah, I share most everything to the Facebook, but it's mainly I just mess with this Instagram.
Yeah, so go to Instagram and go ahead and follow Aegis, AEGIS Gun Care. Just search for it and it'll pop right up, and give him a follow. Absolutely. Now, Stacy says I followed even though he called me a Karen. I hear you. Yeah, it was awesome to see you guys. It's been, man, I think it was 2 or 3 years since we've seen each other.
Yeah,
face to face, since we were all down at me and Clover. I know you guys were down at Charlie's. It was way too long, and obviously we're gonna see a lot more of you, but I'm really happy for you. I know that the last 6 months has been interesting, to say the least, between the move and the company and all that, but I know that you guys are going to be just fine. You guys are killing it. So congrats on
I
everything.
appreciate it. And like again, just really appreciate all the support. It's pretty awesome.
Well, the great thing is everyone in this room knows you, but the great thing is when you've got a product that speaks for itself, and you've got people like you and Shelly that are just awesome, like salt of the earth people, it's pretty easy to support that,
Wait. Okay, whoa. I'm doing it all wrong. Where's the button that makes it speak for itself?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
that's what you need. Okay, but you know how good our products are. Very good. I'm biased as hell, but they're very good products. Our lube is incredible, and it's about to get better. So
good.
I had a nice meeting the day after. That's why I'm later getting home right now, because I had a meeting the day after Wanenmacher, and things are about to get better.
Congratulations. Proud of you. Happy for you. Buck, what's going on? Thanks for coming on, and thanks for putting up with my ass all weekend, both driving and in the hotel room and all of that. I had fun as always, my friend. Tell people there could possibly be a name change coming down the pike for you, but tell people what you got going on.
Well, yeah, it might be a name change coming up. I just want to say it was nice meeting TJ and Crystal up there face to face. I've been talking to them I don't know how long on YouTube. And I want to say it was nice meeting Rod and Shelly up there. Bunch of good people. And when I did get back, I did buy a couple more of those kits. So somewhere along the line, there might be a free giveaway going on somebody's chat once I get everything in.
Yeah, Buck's going to be giving out field kits. I thought he said he bought some more tits, but I didn't. I thought I might have heard that wrong. But
and Buck, those will get sent out as soon as I get back, because my warehouse guy is horrible. He can't be trusted. He's not dependable. He needs to be fired.
He's that guy.
Yeah, I figured that's who it was. So I ain't in no big hurry. Just whenever you get back, you just be safe out there on the road.
Yep.
All I know is Bugs says if I don't get those by Wednesday, he's going to start calling the owner and bitching and complaining about customer service. So
yeah,
she doesn't like being yelled at. So be careful.
No. Yeah. No. I can see her not taking an ass chewing very, very easily, because she'd probably go give it right back to you. That was great. TJ with Gear Report. I'm serious. Y'all need to start doing a beer report section of that. This week in Beer Report would be awesome. But yeah, it was great seeing you again, buddy. We'll see you in a couple months. It's been, we didn't see you at SHOT in 2020, did we? So it's been a couple years since we saw you, I think. Yeah, you were at 2020 because you were driving my ass around. Yeah, you and Jeff were my chauffeurs for Range Day. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, remember.
Yeah. But yeah, I know that you've got a shit ton going on that you're having to review, but what are some of the stuff that people can look for in your report coming from you specifically in the next week or two?
I mean, all kinds of stuff. We got the Taurus Raging Hunter and 454, the Taurus TX22 competition, the Diamondback Sidekick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost finished with that one. Some Mantis stuff, a little bit of everything. I'm trying to get it knocked out here. Try to clear out everything before SHOT rolls in.
Yep. Now you mentioned the that little Diamondback Sidekick.
Yep.
It was that little 22 revolver. To me, it looks like a Rough Rider.
It's. I took a picture of a Rough Rider over there, and I was like, it's pretty close.
Yeah. Now Clover calls me today. We were talking back and forth, and he said, "Did you get an email from Heritage?" And I was like, "No." Do you want to tell TJ what's getting ready to come out from Heritage?
Public on the air? Nope.
Okay. We'll talk about it off air then.
All right.
Just saying.
Yeah. Just saying.
The reason why I brought that up is because we were talking about the Rough Rider, but
something's coming.
Yeah, the Sidekick's not coming out until I think it's end of this month. It comes out. And it's like at the price, it's like 300 something. It's super reasonable.
In fact, I called my FFL today, And I said, hey, when this comes in, because the guys there have a habit of when new guns come in, it just happens at the gun shop. They show it to everybody. Oh, look what so and so got or ordered or blah, 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 blah. And I said, hey, this is embargoed until January the 18th. We cannot talk about this. Make sure that the guys receive it, log it in, and put it in the safe. And they don't hand it.
Don't let anyone see it. Yeah.
Don't hand it or show it to anyone but me. So, yeah.
Yeah, pretty sweet. Yeah, Rich White. I sent this to Clover. Clover's not a big Smith & Wesson semi-auto pistol guy, but he's a big 10 millimeter. And I sent him a text and I said, did you see the press release from Smith & Wesson? He's like, nope. So I forwarded on to him. Smith & Wesson is coming out with an M&P 10 millimeter. And he says, well, I might actually be interested in an M&P now. So, he's not saying he is interested. He's saying he could be, but it took a 10 millimeter to get Clover to be maybe possibly interested in an M&P. So
Correct.
It does look pretty sweet. I'm not going to lie. It does look really good.
About time, right? Like,
yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Clove, what you got going on? He's going to have 17 more channels by the end of the year, but
I know, right?
He's going to have another website. I don't know if he's got enough, storage on his website for all these new channels.
Golly, it's crazy. So, man, I got a couple of cool things. I mean, we alluded to that. Nobody's going to know until January 18th, but something really cool coming along. That this is the first time I've been offered something, and they say don't talk about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. Possibly getting one of the sidekicks that TJ was talking about here before too long.
Y'all need to have like a shooting contest on video, like a collaboration.
Cool. We both talking to TJ over the weekend. We both suck with single action army sights.
He would destroy me. I could hit
him. Yeah. I don't. That not necessarily.
Anything outside of point blank, huh?
But I've got as far as content that dropped from the show today earlier. So check it out when this ends. The Silencer Central. Got over to their booth and talked with them a little bit. Got the interview with Rod probably dropping Friday if I'm guessing on that. It's all edited and ready to go. So that means that YouTube channel members and Patreon patrons have access right now. Wink, wink. And then I've got a couple more videos. Going to try to get those out over the next week. I'm going to try to get everything from Tulsa out. And then to follow up on that, I'd say, talking about the show, it was, I know we dogged on it a little bit at first, those of us that have been multiple times, because it wasn't quite the same, but still
the best gun show in the world.
Yeah, an amazing time, a good weekend, just all the way around. So, if
it's great to see everybody again. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
you have a chance to make that show. It's real easy to put it off and say, oh, I can't, or blah, 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 blah. And if you ever make it, then you understand what we're talking about. And odds are you're going to be hooked and addicted, and you're going to be there every single time.
The worst.
We're going to drive over in spring.
Yeah.
Oh, are you really?
Oh, yeah.
Just leave a couple of days ahead of time. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll stop in New Orleans, and then I'll, swing over there. That way,
make a vacation of it. Sure.
That way I can bring stuff back too if I happen to buy something.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Yeah, the worst Wanenmacher show is still going to make any of your local gun shows look like nothing. So, yeah.
The building they have art gun show in, you could put the whole building inside the Wanenmacher.
Oh, easily, I'm sure.
You could put 4 of the local one here, the big local one here. You could put 4 easily in there.
Well, ours is a big concert venue, and I think you probably could still put it in there.
Yeah. Snob says even a bad gun show is good. He still bought 3 guns, and it's great. As for us, I think we're gonna have a video this weekend be dropping on the Mantis Blackbeard. I think next week after that, I think I've got to get into that academy. I haven't. everyone says the Academy is great, the Manus Academy, so I'm looking forward to that. But that'll coming up. Obviously, sometime this week we'll have the Aegis Gun Care interview from Wanenmacher. The great thing about that interview is the first half of it is Rod stuffing his face with a sandwich or a burger of some sort. So that's worth it just in itself to see that. So it's great seeing Stan again and his brother, the twin brother. We call him the twin brother. It's great seeing Stan again. Congrats on the retirement. It was obviously great seeing Snob and Gizzard Gary and Obnoxious and Snob, Stacy, Arminthia, Mr. Wright, Two Gun Kitty, Weston was there. I want to say we had I think we had 16. Was it 16 we had at the dinner Saturday night?
Yeah.
I think the we turned in was 16. I had a blast,
You mean a Snob's Gentleman Club?
Snob's Gentleman Club. The guy that met it rain. Clover got on the horse this time, so that was nice. And most importantly, many of us had Krispy Kreme dipped into a Frosty from Wendy's. And as good as it sounds, I'm just gonna say it's even better in real life.
But you know what? Yeah. One thing I'll add to that, you said it was pretty good. I don't think it was quite as good as the cigar that I got from TJ, though.
Yeah, see, I'm not a cigar, but you guys were enjoying the cigars. So
TJ hooked me up on an awesome cigar.
So I got a box
today.
What was
that, TJ? Ooh, there you go. It was great all around. It really was. The company was great. It's great seeing everybody. The show was good. Wasn't the greatest show ever, but like I said, even the worst, and this wasn't the worst scenario Wanenmacher, but even the worst scenario Wanenmacher is still the best gun show in the world. So yeah, it's I saw the side chat. That's pretty funny. Rest in peace, Stan. Rest in peace. Yeah, we'll always remember the good times at SS Pawn. But it was great. Great weekend. I'm glad everyone made it home except for Rod is the last one, and he is gone. He just jumped out. He probably hit the wrong button. But Rod's the only one that's still, unless Sarge and Obnoxious haven't made it back to Carolina. I don't know, but I know that Rod's still en route to Idaho, but be safe the rest of the way. You'll be home by tomorrow. If you're in Wyoming, you'll be home tomorrow, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, I'll get home tomorrow evening.
Okay. Be safe. It was great seeing everybody again. Great meeting Two Gun Kitty for the first time. We saw 45 ACP was there. I forgot to mention him. It was great seeing him again. Did I miss anyone that we saw? I don't think so. I think we named everyone. It was a great time. Thanks to the Wanenmacher family for allowing us to come in and capture their great gun show as media. We really do. It's not a guarantee. It's not something that we should feel entitled to be able to do every time. And every year, every twice a year, they say yes to us so far. The last 5 or 6 years, whatever it's been. So thank you to them. Thank you to Clover for setting that up. It's a thrill. It really is a thrill. If you're looking to start maybe getting into some content creation and you're thinking about doing some bigger shows, Wanenmacher is a great place to cut your teeth. If you're interested, contact Clover Tack or any of us. We can get you in contact, but it's fun. It's the biggest, greatest gun show in the world. Happens twice a year in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So it was a blast. We will see you guys next week. Next week is Thanksgiving week, so we might have some fun talking about that. It's crazy. It's Thanksgiving already. Guys, we are literally exactly 2 months to SHOT Show. Officially, we are 2 months from SHOT Show.
It'll get here quick.
I think we'll get there. Yeah, I mean, I think Clover, we get the 15th is whatever that Saturday is. The 15th we land.
15th, I think. Yeah.
You're 2 months away from SHOT.
Can't wait.
Can't wait. All right, guys. Thank you for watching live as always. If you're watching a replay, God bless you. Good Lord. If you made it this far in replay, let me know. I'll send you something. If you're listening in podcast, thank you so much. Great chat as always out there. Thank you so much for all the questions. I had a blast. And we will see you next week. Semper Fi.